Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Judy Simpson. No one can predict all of the issues that our children and grandchildren will confront, but we can be near certain that environmental and energy issues will continue to be among the most pressing topics for the next generation. That's why the UVM Extension 4-H program and Vermont Energy Education program are launching a new initiative. It's called Teens Reaching Youth for the Environment, or TRY for short. To find out more about this new and innovative program, I'm joined by Lauren Traster. Lauren is the 4-H Teen and Leadership Program Coordinator. Great to see you again.
Nice to see you.
Before we get into the specifics of TRY, let's talk a little bit about why this program is needed.
Well, we know that our youth are really concerned about energy issues. I mean, they've grown up in a world where climate change has been in the news pretty much on a daily basis. But we also know that there's not a lot of understanding about energy issues. And today, the environmental issues that our youth are facing today really require a lot of creativity and problem solving. And as I heard one person say at one point, like Nobel Prize worthy solutions. But it also requires our youth to understand how to be informed and engaged citizens. And a lot of that comes with understanding the content. So a program like this really matters because it gets our young people at the earliest stages to begin understanding these issues, to have a voice in these issues, and getting involved in their communities early on so that they can be part of the solution now instead of waiting to see what's going to happen later on.
And so what about funding for this program? It comes from State Farm through their Youth Advisory Board. Can you tell us how that works?
Yeah, so State Farm has a Youth Advisory Board where it's a group of, I believe, 30 or so students from all over the country, and I believe also Canada. They're about college-age students. There's actually a member that goes to Middlebury College who was going to join us today, unfortunately couldn't. But they're given, I believe, about $5 million to distribute across the U.S. and Canada to give to service learning projects that really engage our teens and young people in projects that have community impacts. And they have a variety of topics that they will fund, and environmental literacy is one of the topics, one of the categories that they fund. So we applied for a grant this year for our program, and I was really excited to learn that we received a grant, and I was even more excited when I heard they only funded less than 10% of the grants that they received. So I'm very proud of this, that we made it through the process and came out at that sort of top level, and because of their funding, we're able to start this program here in Vermont.
And how does Try for the Environment work?
So Try for the Environment, it's really neat. The model is actually a 4-H model that other states use, where teens teaching other youth is a format that 4-H has used for a very long time. Because we know that younger youth look up to the older youth. Sometimes they'll receive the content and messages better from the teenagers who they look to as role models.
Right.
So we sort of played with the model a little bit and called it Try for the Environment. So the way it works is that we're recruiting teams of 2 to 4 teens from a school or an area to come and get trained in a specific renewable energy curriculum that's going to be developed by the Vermont Energy Education program. And after they get trained, then they're going to go out into their community and teach younger youth in grades K through 3 the lessons. And they're going to be very fun, hands-on, engaging lessons to help teach these younger youth to get to understand renewable energy. So it's a win-win because the younger youth are going to learn, the teens are going to learn, and as a community, the community at large is going to be exposed to these issues around renewable energy.
Not only that, but it really gives these teenagers who want to get involved some skills that they can take with them.
Oh, completely. This is not only a service learning project, it really is a workforce development. There's going to be some very specific skills that these teens will leave this program with. Leadership, teaching, mentoring, but also they're going to develop some STEM skills, science, technology, education, math, which is really critical to today's workforce. So regardless of what they think they might want to go on to college or career, this actually will provide provide them some real resume building experience that they're going to be able to put and talk about, and the skills that they're going to gain will be lifelong skills that they'll own as they go through this program and leave the program.
And all the materials are included, I understand.
Yeah, yep. So the program, because of the funding that we have from State Farm, we're going to be able to supply not only the training for these teams, we're going to be able to give them really cool energy kits, so they're going to be able to do some fun activities with these young people. We're going to have the curriculum. They're even going to get try T-shirts so that when they go out into the community, they'll be branding themselves and be very prominent in the community as a Tri team member.
And so how can a potential Tri member or mentor apply or get more information? So
they can contact me directly, either by phone. I have a toll-free number, 866-260-5603, or they can go to my website, which is www.uvm.edu/extension/teen leadership, and then they can find the information within that section of our website.
And so for the past several years, you've run the annual Youth Environmental Summit, and some of the feedback that you've received from the summits led you to initiate this TRI program. Tell us what you learned from the summits.
Yeah, so last year we had a Youth Environmental Council that helped plan the summit, and one of the topics that they were very adamant that they wanted to have talked about at the summit was the future of renewable energy in Vermont. So we had a panel of experts come and speak to the entire audience last year. And then I did an action planning workshop with the entire audience to get them thinking about what kind of issues mattered to them, where did they want to sort of lend their energies and lend their voice. And really what rose to the surface was a lot of youth are concerned about renewable energy. They want to learn more about renewable energy, and more importantly, they want to do more. They want to make a difference. And so taking all that information and processing that, we came up with this program, Try for the Environment, as a way to meet the needs that, what the youth were telling us they wanted.
And so one of the most popular presenters at the Youth Environmental Summit has been Andy Shapiro. He's a longtime energy educator with the Vermont Energy Education Program. Well, he now serves as the program's executive director. The Vermont Energy Education Program is partnering with the UVM Extension 4-H program in the Try for the Environment program, and we've asked Andy Shapiro to join us to share his perspective on energy education and the new Try program. So welcome, and thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Tell our viewers a little bit about the Vermont Energy Education Program.
VEEP, or Vermont Energy Education Program, has been around about 20 years, and we do energy education at all levels at K through 12 in Vermont schools, both public and private. We have three kinds of programs. One, we bring in-class presentations that we bring right into the classroom. We also train teachers in different curricula where they can run extended units on solar or wind or climate change. And we also have a program called the Whole School Energy Challenge, which I'll tell you more about later.
Okay, well, you have educators all across the state, you mentioned, and you have some pictures to illustrate the hands-on approach that your organization provides. We'll take a look at those.
Yeah, we call it hands-on, minds-on. So not only is it the kids having fun and getting their hands on things, but it's really making that mental connection with how this stuff works. So we work with kids that are young, up through high school. Middle school is kind of a sweet spot for us. These kids are building solar concentrating collectors that they design themselves and test themselves. So it's a real engineering workshop. They learn to be young engineers. And kids are naturally engineers. They're explorers. They love to build things and tinker. And the new science standards that Vermont has just adopted actually encourage bringing this level of engineering and science skills way down to even kindergarten level. So we're assisting teachers with implementing these standards by bringing our programs in.
So why the partnership with Lauren in the 4-H and the Try for the Environment program?
It's a great opportunity for us to train students. As Lauren said, students are very concerned about climate change, and we want to both give them information, the science they need. Energy is so abstract. You need science tools to understand it. It's not something you can pick up, energy. You have to look at it with an eye of a scientist. So we give them those science skills that they can understand energy, and then they can use that understanding to really do something. We want to empower them. Climate change is very gloom and doom when you look at it. And we don't want kids to come away with that message. We want them to say, oh, this is something I can help with.
And so what are some of the activities that the teenagers will teach in this TRI program?
One of them is likely to be working with wind energy. We have a program where even the young students can build a little mini windmill that's used to raise weights. And they can measure how much weight can I make this windmill move. So they're really, engineering skills at a very simple level of working with an energy system.
And I know you have some examples, or at least one example that you brought.
Yeah, I brought some of the toys that we bring in. Our in-class presentations, one of them, the most popular one's called Electricity in the Environment. And it starts off with this. This is a cow magnet, which a lot of kids in Vermont know what this is. It's just a strong magnet. And we show the students how, with a coil of wire and a magnet, and relative motion between them, you make electricity. You can see the needle moving there. And we challenge them to, here, you can try it, to make electricity with that. And then we say, okay, well, here's a flashlight that makes electricity. We know it does because it lights up. They're challenged to find the coil and magnet, supply the motion, and make some electricity. Then we gradually work them up to a bigger generator. So this is a generator of our own design, which has a bunch of magnets and coils. And the kids can actually see how this generates electricity. If you look at the gauge on the top, you can see the more lights, the more electricity there. Then we look at, well, gee, you don't want to sit there and twirl this to keep your house lit up, so we could put a turbine blade on here, and we could use pressurized steam like they do in the big world to make electricity, or we could turn this with water. And we could also turn this with wind. So we can use these different ways to make electricity, and we talk with the students about advantages and disadvantages of all of those, and then they can also look and see how we can make electricity without coils and magnets, which is with solar electricity. So this is one of our in-class presentations called Electricity in the Environment that we bring into schools. That's probably our most popular one.
I was going to say, I mean, how important is it to have the kids look at this and touch these things and figure them out themselves?
There's no substitute for that. Once you do this, you've got a body sense of how this works. The culminating activity here is the kids get on a generating bicycle that has an electric generator attached to the rear wheel, and they pedal to light up regular light bulbs and energy efficient light bulbs. And when I flip the switch to turn on that incandescent old-fashioned light bulb, you can see the effort. And I said, well, which one's more efficient? And they'll say, well, obviously the CFL or the LED light bulb, because it takes less work. Now, if you tried to teach them efficiency by saying it's work in divided by work out,
and give them a graph,
maybe 5% of the kids would get that. But once they get on that bicycle, they will understand the rest of their lives what efficiency means.
And sort of to bring it back full circle, what's so great about this, as they get the experience and they really own the knowledge because they've seen it, they've touched it, they've experienced it. When you get to that bigger issue of making informed decisions about policy and energy policy and decisions that are going to really be critical to sort of the energy future of our country, we're now going to have these educated citizens who can engage in that kind of discussion and make hopefully really good policy decisions that then will come full circle again. So all of these things, while they're really fun, there is that larger goal in mind of making our energy policy stronger and more sustainable.
Also, too, I would imagine the teens who are involved in learning how to give these presentations to younger kids, it must be, like learning it or seeing it through new eyes when they show even younger kids how this works, or having them get their hands on it for the first time.
Yeah, it's when you teach something, that's when you understand how well you really know it.
Yeah, I mean, they might be able to pass a test at school, but right until they have to get up and explain and teach somebody else, and especially a younger student who will probably have questions that you never anticipated, they'll really then own that. So we're not only going to be teaching the K through 3, it really is those teens who are the teachers who will be enhancing their knowledge to a much higher level than they probably ever imagined.
And so, in addition to the new TRI program, what other opportunities do each of you offer to young folks for hands-on experience?
We have a program called the Whole School Energy Challenge, and we're running this in 14 schools in Vermont this year in cooperation with Efficiency Vermont and the School Energy Management Program. In that program, we form teams in the school of a team of students, a teacher advisor, the facility person, an administrator, a VEEP person, and an Efficiency Vermont person. And the teens are encouraged and given enough training to find energy-saving opportunities in the school itself and actually implement them. So it's not enough to just figure it out. Well, and they do have to figure it out. Well, how much is this going to cost? What's it going to save? If it's an equipment retrofit, or it might just be a behavior change. Could we train people to turn off the lights? Do we need a mini refrigerator in every classroom? They get experience not only with the science, but with really the politics and social aspects of energy. You know, the technology is not a problem. It's really a social issue. You know, we know how to do all this stuff. And so they learn to work with the school board, make a presentation to the school board. Take, you know, what did you learn in science? Take that into teaching your elders about it and asking them to do something about it. And what we find is that the kids, when they come to the school board and say, we need a lighting retrofit here, the kids will get a much better response than if I, as an energy guy, went in there and they'd say, well, what's his agenda? But the kids, so we had kids in Harwood.
I have to interrupt you here because we're just about out of time.
Okay.
Lauren, once again, we're going to put up your information for how people can get more information about the TRI program.
Yep, TRI program and other 4-H programs that I run. Contact our website, www.uvm.edu/extension/teen leadership, or toll free 866-260-5603.
Thanks to both of you. That's our program for today. I'm Judy Simpson. We'll see you again next time on Across the Fence.
For a video copy of today's program, call toll free 1-888-ATF-3430. Across the Fence is brought to you as a public service by University of Vermont Extension and WCAX-TV.